Here's something that you may not know. Every believer goes through moments that test their patience, their strength, and their faith. Sometimes it feels like the more you pray, the quieter God becomes. But what if the silence is an absence? What if it's a test? In James chapter 1 verses 2 through 4, it says, "My brothers and sisters, you will have many kinds of trouble, but this gives you a reason to be very happy. You know that when your faith is tested, you learn to be patient in suffering. If you let that patience work in you, the end result will be good. You will be mature and complete. You will be all that God wants you to be." Before every major breakthrough, God allows a season of testing, not to break you, but to build you. And today, we're going to uncover 5 powerful signs that God is testing your faith before your breakthrough. Because what you're facing right now might not be punishment, it might be preparation. Sign number 1. Everything seems to be falling apart. When God is testing your faith, the first thing that often happens is this. Everything starts shaking. The job feels unstable, relationships are tested, prayers seem to go unanswered, and you begin to wonder, God, where are you? But understand this, God often allows everything around you to be shaken so that only what's built on Him will remain. Hebrews chapter 12 verse 27 says, "The words, once again, clearly show us that everything that was created will be destroyed. That is, the things that can be shaken, and only what cannot be shaken will remain." You see, God tests your faith by removing false foundations, the things you've leaned on instead of Him. If He's allowing things to crumble, it's because He's strengthening your spiritual roots. Your breakthrough requires stability, not just success. So, if your world feels unstable, trust that God is testing what you've built, not to destroy you, but to prepare you for a foundation that lasts. Sign number 2. God feels silent. There's few things that test your faith like silence. You pray, but there's no answer. You read the Word, but it feels dry. You show up in church, but you can't feel God the way you used to. This is one of the clearest signs of a divine test. Because in every test, the teacher is always silent. In Psalm chapter 46 verse 10, it says, "Be still and know that I am God." God's silence is not His absence, it's His strategy. In the silence, He's teaching you to trust what He already said. He's building maturity, because faith that only believes when it hears is not faith, it's dependency. So, if you're in a silent season, don't panic. That quiet space is the classroom of your next level. He's testing whether you can still believe when you can't feel Him. Sign number 3. You're being stretched beyond comfort. You see, God will often stretch you in areas you thought were already surrendered. He'll call you to forgive when you're still hurting. He'll tell you to give when you barely have enough. He'll ask you to trust when the outcome is unclear. Why? Because comfort never produces growth. In 1 Peter chapter 1 verse 7, it says, "These troubles test your faith and prove that it is pure. And such faith is worth more than gold. Gold can be proved to be pure by fire, but gold will ruin. When your faith is proven to be pure, the result will be praise and glory and honor when Jesus Christ comes." Every test has fire, but that fire refines, not destroys. God is not trying to break you. He's trying to bring out the purity of your faith. When he stretches you, it's a setup for strength. Your limits are being expanded for the level you're about to walk into. Sign number 4. You're asked to obey without understanding. When God is testing your faith, He'll often give instructions that don't make any sense whatsoever. He'll ask you to step out on water, like Peter, to build an ark like Noah, or to go to a land like Abraham, with no roadmap in sight. Faith isn't proven in the plan, it's proven in obedience. In Hebrews chapter 11, verse 8, it says, God called Abraham to travel to another place that he promised to give him. Abraham did not know where that other place was, but he obeyed God and started traveling because he had faith. You may not understand the why, but God is testing whether you'll trust His who. The next level of blessing is often locked behind an instruction that doesn't make sense until you obey. So, if God's asking for obedience without clarity, that's not punishment, it's promotion in disguise. Sign number 5. You feel like giving up right before it happens. One of the final signs God is testing your faith is that the desire to quit becomes overwhelming. The pressure feels unbearable. You're exhausted, frustrated, and ready to walk away. That's not coincidence. That's the final stretch. In Galatians chapter 6, verse 9, it says, And let us not be weary in well-doing, for in due season we shall reap if we faint not. Before every harvest comes the hardest test. The enemy knows you're close, so he attacks your endurance. But don't give in. You're too close to stop now. That pressure you feel, that's not destruction. That's delivery. Every test ends when you choose to trust God one more time, even when you're tired. Believe me when I tell you this, testing seasons aren't easy. They never are. But they're necessary. God tests your faith not to expose weakness, but to reveal strength. When it feels like everything is shaking, when God is silent, and obedience feels hard, and when quitting seems easier, remind yourself the test always comes before the promotion. Every test you pass becomes proof of faith for the next level. Don't despise the testing. Embrace it, because your breakthrough is not just coming, it's being built through your endurance right now. So, hold on. You're not losing, you're learning. And soon, the very season that tested your faith will become the testimony that strengthens someone else's.